Luke, tell us about your business and what's limiting its growth right now.
So I'm a sales coach. So I've been in an industry where I was really well known, respected, etc. And so hopping out of that industry now into coaching sales and being a sales coach, the constraint is I'm just not known. Like I just don't have the track record as far as known, being, an authority, as far as being well known in the space. Doesn't mean I don't have the skills. Doesn't mean I know what I'm talking about, but just that's the biggest constraint I have right now.
Right. Marketing. Yeah, we'll do a deep dive on both those aspects. But before we do, can you tell us a little bit about your goal for the business? Like what's a 3-year revenue target and how much revenue did you bring in last year?
I've just begun my business this year. So the revenue, I don't have a baseline, but my first initial goal is $20,000 a month. And then I want to scale that up to 50 by year's end. And then in the next, 24 months, I want to be at $100,000 a month. So those are the big goals, kind of the metrics that I look at.
How many clients do you have right now?
So right now I've worked with 2 clients.
Okay.
Finished up with one, actually just did a final, assessment and check-in and how things were going. So it went well. So
okay. Are these like bringing in MRR, monthly recurring revenue, or are these like more of a one-time clients?
But a little bit of both. So the one that I helped with just now is actually a pest control business. So they sell a product service that is 12 to 24 months, just depending on it. So that's an MRR business. And some other ones are more, they're just more, sell one product one time and just keep doing that over and over again.
Right. But for your business, are they a recurring customer or are they just like a one-time coaching?
For my customer, they're going to be 3 to 6 month program. So I do one-on-one coaching for my clients.
Okay. So you're doing one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Tell me about
their sales teams. Yeah. I work with people that only have sales teams. I actually tried working with individual salespeople for about 6 months, wasted a lot of time, effort, and into the wrong lane for a lot of different reasons. So I had to pivot, and I've been wanting to work with teams, and I was a sales leader, and I was I ran sales teams for a decade, and we worked in door-to-door sales. So it's one of the hardest sales industries out there. And I did that successfully, ran top teams in that for 10 years. So I'm really, really good at working with teams and growing and developing and helping, businesses, CEOs, etc., really dial in their sales team. So that's my lane.
Yeah. Tell me about why. You mentioned you don't like working with individual salespeople. Why is that?
In that market, I found that you have a lot of freebie seekers. You have a lot of people that honestly just don't want to invest in themselves, and they don't want to spend the kind of money and the kind of time and the kind of commitment that it takes. So sales companies have a little bit more skin in the game. They want those immediate results, and they're a little bit more aligned with what I do, because I'm looking at the whole sales organization like in a big picture way. And there's a lot of drivers that companies can do to really help salespeople be successful. And so that's like pay, that's like incentive structures, that's like team culture, that's leadership opportunities. And then obviously sales training itself is key.
So how much was this a problem in terms of they're not a right fit because your experience is in managing sales team versus in training single people, as opposed to how much of that problem was, I just didn't do a good job qualifying them or disqualifying them early in the process. So they shouldn't even have made it to the point where I'm teaching them.
Yeah, part of that's definitely true. Like what you say is definitely a reality. In a lot of different ways, I was trying to coach people where they were at in a lot of different ways, which I'm good at, but it was just so varied, so different. And then on their side, I just didn't get the commitment level that I feel like, honestly, like without that commitment level from them, it's impossible to improve. So
right. No,
the pay was honestly, the pay is a big factor. Like, they don't want to spend 10 grand on their own coaching. coaching. So they don't. And, few and far between. And so companies are more willing to spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to get, obviously hundreds of thousands of dollars in return and even millions of dollars in return. So the investment proposition is really strong with the companies.
Right. So you rather sell to B2C or B2B as opposed to B2C, because B2B are better customers. They have deeper pockets. But I just wanted to push one more time.
You're good.
What I was trying to get at.
Yeah, please.
Was it possible that you didn't do a good job disqualifying them? Like when they say, oh, Luke, I need help. And you went through the qualification process and maybe could have weeded them out in the intro call that, oh, wait, you're not going to spend this amount of time working on your skill set, or you don't have this much money. Like you could have disqualified them. So you didn't even have to go through a bad experience. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, you're definitely right on that. Yeah, you're on track. So the qualification, I was trying to sell more of a course kind of structure. So I was trying to sell to the masses with some help, and upselling like individual time and effort. And so, that whole idea was fine and it's dandy and there's people that do it. But I guess more the one-on-one is really, really important to me also, because I feel like I understand them. I'm not speaking to just a camera. I'm actually working with someone over a period of time. And that also was part of the decision to pivot.
Okay. Oh, so it was more of a one-to-many, like it was a group setting?
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, group. Yeah, I mean, one-to-many, it becomes a little bit harder, right? Because then everyone has their own individual things that they need help with. And the opportunity to be dissatisfied with the experience is much larger, as opposed to one-to-one, you're solving exactly what problems they have. Did you format it in a way where you had like a video course so they have like a baseline of competency and then they attend the group calls and then they kind of like ask personalized questions, or was it set up differently?
It was set up where I have a base program and I ran those for 6 weeks and kind of rotated them through. It's obviously foundational stuff. And then from there, if they wanted to upgrade to more of a group call, they could. And I just didn't get like a lot of traction on that. And I felt like really people were just coming from all different areas and all different walks of life. And honestly, I just didn't feel like I could do a great job coaching all that, just the varied. I mean, there's things in sales trainings that will relate to everybody, but just that, I just didn't feel like I was doing a great job either. And that's important to me. Like, I know what I'm doing with salespeople and I know my stuff, but just trying to please, 5-6 different niches and different areas. And then you throw on top of that 5 different, 10 different personalities, and you throw on that, 10 different experience levels. And I kind of felt like I was trying to please everyone and pleasing nobody, including myself, which is key,
right.
which is key.
Yeah, no, niching down and that's why it's so important, right? Because you have this experience, door-to-door sales, and if you niche down and say, well, this is the type of people, these are the type of teams that I help with because I have this XYZ experience that directly relates to what I'm teaching, then you can charge more because it's like a niche offer, right? Mm-hmm. And you can deliver at much higher like performance, because that's you're relating your personal experiences and lessons you have learned in the past, and kind of like and teaching like the younger generation on how to deal with those problems. But if you're trying to teach pretty much everyone and they're coming from different niches, I understand how you feel like, well, this strategy worked really well in door to door, but I don't know if it's gonna work really well on like online only sale. Right. So am I on the right track? Is that what happened?
I mean, the strategies work, but there's just a nuance and there's just a level of like individualism, honestly, that just needs to be done. Like, And I didn't feel like they were getting where they needed to be, and I wasn't like, it just felt like I was just trying to be too many people, too many avenues, too much variables all at once. And then I didn't see, because maybe I don't know what happened, but a light bulb turned on. Eventually, I'm like, I always wanted to build them kind of both at the same time, and then I decided to kind of focus on the consumer or the individual first, and then build the my business sales coaching second. And I just decided, I just got to pivot.
So I think it was the right move based on what I've heard, because then you niche down. Now your target ICP, ideal customer profile, is more narrow and more niche, right? So what does the niche down ICP look like right now?
So they're business owners, CEOs that need help with they have a sales team, and basically that sales team is underperforming, plateaued. And that's really, obviously, if they're doing great and amazing, they don't need help anyway. So that's my ideal client. I like to normally I like to have like between like honestly, I'll go as low as like three sales reps on a team to 50. That's kind of like where I feel like, people over 50 sales reps, they probably have some resources, and to have a pretty decent sales program. If they've gotten to 50 salespeople, they probably have their sales like dialed in pretty well already. Not always. I mean, I've seen some bad sales companies that are pretty big, honestly, but that's kind of where I'm really like focused on,
Yeah. So. What do you have like a target revenue that companies should be making before they even call you?
No, I don't. It's open.
Okay, as long as they have between 3 and 50 sales reps, right?
Yeah, that's kind of
Okay.
At least 3. 3's kind of on the low end. I mean, it's kind of on the low end, honestly, but
yeah.
But if they're growing, they're a company that really wants to make it happen. They're growing, and they got the right mentality about it. Like, in a way, that's a great place to start, because they can really build a foundation that's correct instead of having to tear stuff down later and restart.
Right. I was thinking my company qualifies. I have 7 sales reps, so maybe we should get some strategies in next. Okay, so we defined the ICP. This is a CEO with a sales team that's underperforming or plateaued. How do CEOs measure? Like, what is there like one sales metric that they should be looking at, or there like a combination of sales metric that determines whether the team is underperforming or not?
Yeah, it can really vary. So you can look at like year over year, quarter over quarter numbers, right? You can also look just at trajectory, like, are we selling more than we have been in the past, or are we selling less, right? They have, what you're getting for your, so a big one like this last company I helped, they were, the previous year they were spending more on advertising and more on leads and closing fewer deals. So they're spending more to get less. And so literally over the matter of, 60 days, we improved their sales close percentage by 9%. And then it's looking like last month was going to be closer, they're not quite done, but it's going to be 15 to 16% this last month. So that, and they're super happy, right? Because they can see that it's turning around. So you look at, anyway, to answer your question, you look at, those couple things, and then also kind of and this is more of just a feel kind of thing, but it's like out in the marketplace, how does our business compare to others? Like, where should we be? Where do we want to be? And that's more of a feel thing, right? Maybe not hard numbers, just more of a like, look, we got a better product service than XYZ. How come they're, kicking our butt? And how can we catch up? That kind of thing. So does that fully kind of answer your question?
Yeah, no, it does. It does.
Yeah.
Just quickly though, as a sales team, what are the, say, top 5 metrics they should be measuring?
So they should be measuring, number one, obviously leads, right? And so whether those are going up or down, and then whatever steps are in the sales process. So it might be a 2-step sell, it might be a 3-step sell. For instance, it might be a lead comes in and then we set up a call. Okay, so we got step 1 to 2. So the conversion ratio there. And then from the call, how many close? So then you got a closing ratio. So sometimes companies think it's a problem in a specific area, but it's actually not. Like you might go back 1 or 2 steps and then realize, oh wow, it's actually this. We're not getting enough people that are actually going from a lead to setting an appointment. We thought we needed training on closing, but it's actually we need a lot of focus on that area. So any of the metrics, I call it the sales chain. So you got a sales chain, one link to the next link to the next link to the next link, and you got a finished sale. So what metrics you want to be? You want to be aware of every metric in the sell.
How important is show up rates?
Obviously really important, because any of those metrics, like, if you just double your show up rate, you'll double nothing else, you're going to double your sales results.
Yeah.
Right. If you 20% increase, 20% increase on show up rates, and literally everything else stays the same, then, that is going to trickle through. Same with like a close rate. You add, let's say you add 25% in show up rate and you add another 25% in close rate. Well, let's go lower, maybe more regular numbers, 10% in show up rate and 10% in close rate. Now all of a sudden you've increased your lead to close by 20%.
Right.
So those are huge numbers. And I think sometimes in sales, we think, 5% doesn't matter, or like it matters, like 5% over a course of a year. I mean, it matters a lot. And so even like this, this one of my recent teams, that 9% increase, they were ecstatic about. And sometimes people are like, well, it's only 9%, but you're talking like, what does 9% do to them over the course of the year? And especially when it's recurring revenue, that adds a big number to it.
Yeah. For us, for internally our sales team, we are like militant about show up rates, because as you correctly pointed out, it impacts pretty much everything downstream, right? If people are not even showing up, right? What does it matter what the close rate is, because they're not even showing up? So the more people that can show up, the more it helps downstream.
Yeah. I'll give you an idea too, like in my in getting the leads, right? So some companies, they go out and get leads, and that might not be associated with their salespeople, but some sales companies, like the one I came from, we got our own leads. So we went out and knocked our own doors, right? So the metric was, if we can increase that number, then all the other numbers follow suit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Abi.
Yeah, here's a problem we've been dealing with. Tell us how to solve this. So someone books a call with us, right? This is the setter booking a call. Like they say, oh, are you in the market for land? Do you have the money? Do you have the decision making power? And all those like qualifying questions. So they pass the qualifying question. So the setter sets them up with the call with the closer. So they're like, all right, so I'm gonna have you have Erica talk to Erica. She's an expert. She has helped 700 plus people, blah, blah, blah. When would you like to meet with her? These are the available times. So we have them book on Calendly, right? For the next available time, right? Say that's next day, right? So next morning, we'll have our lead nurturer person. They will call, confirm the appointment. Are you going to be on the call at 4 p.m. today? They'll be say, yeah, of course I'll be there. So they confirm the appointment. They get automated reminders, right? So Erica is ready. She's our closer. She's ready, logs into Zoom, and the person doesn't show up. And it happens like 20% of the time, which is
That's
ridiculous.
20%?
Yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, 15 to 20% of the time this is happening, where people are confirming like with a human. No, this is not like an automated confirm.
Yeah,
this
not
is,
like a text, thumb up or anything.
Yeah.
It's
with a human calling them, and they say, oh yeah, of course I'll be on the call. And then they don't show up. So how do I solve this problem?
Yeah, I have a couple ideas, but you're already doing a lot that's like really good. So one idea is, so time kills deals. So meaning if it's 2 days, so if you go the same day, you'll have more people show up. And I know that's harder, and like logistically, sometimes it's really hard. But one day you'll see the ratio of show up rate go down, and after the like second day, third day, it literally like goes off a cliff. So that's one, and it sounds like you're probably already doing that, but just keep that in mind maybe. Yeah. So show up rate, time kills deals, always, always, always. Second one is you're doing a lot of the follow up reminders, and the fact that you're doing a call is very impressive, because it's a human to human. So two parts on that. On that call, I would suggest, and I don't know if you're doing this already, but if you're not, just a suggestion is you want to, without the person giving the pitch, presentation, etc., they could say, hey, remind me of what's really been nagging you about this problem. So they talk about the problem just for a minute. And you could put it in like, I'm going to write some more notes for Erica. Hey, I'm going to write some more notes for Erica and make sure she's ready for you. Again, remind me what the problem is, and she might know what the problem is already. But the more people are reminded that, oh my gosh, I do have this problem, you're right. And then even like a couple follow-up questions. Have you done anything to try to fix this yet? Have you tried any methods? Have you, what actions have you taken so far? And just the way I would preface this is like, hey, this is Luke, just following up and just confirming the call today. Hey, real quick, I just want 2 minutes real fast. I just have a couple questions just to make sure Erica's all dialed in and just really ready for you. Hey, remind me what was the big issue you're having, and what's the problem? Kind of dive into it, and then just ask, has there anything so far that you've tried? And then they're like, okay, no, or whatever the answer is, but you just listen and jot it down, and it just reminds them about the call. Right. And then this is a little bit on a technique is like, hey, whenever I set up, so when we were selling, and our sell was like a 2-step close, so we would literally give them the information. We actually had to like do a solar energy design and all that, and come back and present it to them. So it was a 2-step close. So the fact that I've done this a ton, and I would just ask them, and I'd say, hey, are you pretty good at like keeping your appointments? It's not like I'm not projecting like, hey, should you be there? Should you not be there? I'm just asking, hey, are you pretty good? Like normally, are you pretty good at keeping the appointment? If I put this down Tuesday at 6, are you normally like pretty good at keeping appointments? And just that little bit of like, and them saying, yeah, I am. Now all of a sudden they're the type of person that shows up and comes to their appointment. So in their own words, they're saying a little bit more like what you want them to do.
That's interesting. I'm going to implement this. How did you figure this out? This question helps?
Just like anything, just being literally. So I was a sales leader, but I sold every single day. So I trained my sales team. I hired, fired, etc. Led them like every day, but I literally sold not every day, because I'm not selling 7 days a week. I didn't sell on Christmas, but but the idea, literally, I sold daily. So I was in the trenches right with my people. I think it's a pretty unique, it's a very unique angle that I have as far as expertise, and just stuff like that you just don't figure out unless you've kind of like been in it and been doing it.
Yeah. So that helped, right? Are you good at keeping your appointment? And then I'm guessing everyone said yes, or some people said no as well.
Most, yeah, like 9 out of 10. But every once in a while, someone will be like, Luke, I kind of suck at it. I'm like, okay, how can I help you make sure you're there? Joking, like, well, do I got to talk to your wife? Or, just joking, right? Do I got to talk to your wife, or what's going on? Or, do I got to set up a smoke flare for you, or whatever it is? And like, and then they're like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'll try to be here. Or sometimes they'll be like, you know what? Actually, let's make it 5:30. Can we make it 5:30? It gives me a little bit of time. Make sure I'm not late for you. And then that's when I know they're excited about meeting with me.
Did you do any tests to see like before and after how much it improved?
No, that's the thing. I'm such a just a doer, and not I'm not really generally like a super numbers person. So I just go a lot by feel, and then if something works, all you do is you just keep doing it, right? And if something doesn't work, you try it a few more times. If it doesn't work, you just stop doing it.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things I've tried and forgotten about because I've tried them 3 or 4 times and they don't work. So you just flush them.
Yeah, I think it helps with quantifying in your marketing, right? Because then you find something that works, but you don't know how well it works unless you know exactly, like, it increased it by 14%, right? The show up rate improved by 14%. And now you could use that, for example, as a lead magnet for your own clients. I'm going to give me your email and I'll show you a way that will increase your guaranteed, based on my making like 800 phone calls, guarantee will improve your show up rates by 14%. And then they give you their emails, right? They get a PDF report, automated lead magnet, right? And you go into an explanation. So
sorry, I'm writing notes too. If you see me looking down here, sorry. I know it's recorded, but I'm just like,
Yeah. No, I figured.
Yeah, you're right. Like that. It's kind of a miss. Like there's a lot of misses in life, and I think that's one where it's like not like putting like a ton of numbers on, nuanced things like that. I think that's a great, and that'd be a great lead magnet, Abby.
Yeah, it will be, because I would click on it. I would be like, wait, what's that 14% increase I need? Because as I said, show up rates is like the number one metric. Where like literally we look at it every single day, and we have like a person whose sole job, like the sole end of day task is to all the calls we did today, how many showed up, how many did not show up, and assign a percentage, and then explanation of why that person didn't show up. Did we not do the nurture properly? Sometimes the shift starts at 9 a.m. and the call is at 9:30, so we don't have enough time to do the nurture. So we have to, carry over from yesterday, so it's not as effective. So sometimes that causes an issue. But other than that, we haven't, we're not able to figure out why people are not showing up. But now that you gave me this idea.
But it's still top of mind for you, right? And I think that's key, because it's like where your focus is, things won't slip through the tracks. Yeah, you might not be able to like have it like perfect, but it's better to, have it really good than perfect, right?
Yeah.
How many people show up to your like what's your average like percentage for show up rate?
It's around 80%.
That's still pretty good.
Yeah, but we we like to get too close to 100%.
Yeah,
I mean, we know it's never gonna be 100, but
you're like, if I could be 85, that's better. I mean, everything trickles down. You just increase your sales rates by 5%.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's one problem. The other problem we have is usually so it is a high ticket item, right? We're selling land, so it's usually anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000. So the one other problem we have is it's not a 2-step close. It's more like a 7-step or a 10-step close, because we have to go meet like 7 different times before it actually closes, right? Because it is real estate, so we first is setting, right? So we call them, we set them up. So the seller is setting them up with the closer. Then they meet with the closer, and then they might meet with the closer a bunch of other times. Then they might go back to the seller for like admin stuff. Oh, you need to sign this paper or sign this contract. Then it might come back to closer for the final payment, or it might be handled by seller depending on how complex the situation is. So it is a long, like, and it happens over weeks. Like it's not setting today, close tomorrow, right? It might close 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now. So it becomes, it's more complex and it's long. So what are the things we should look out for? Obviously, we are using CRMs. So we always like do BAM-FAM, book a meeting from a meeting before we end the call. So we always have them scheduled for the next call. Any other things that you can think of in a long sales cycle and how it might help improve closing percentages?
Yeah, so in the solar industry, it was a long thing too, just like real estate. Because I know real estate, you got a lot of forms, you got a lot of processes, right? And so with solar energy, it was the same way. So I might sell someone, initially today, close them tomorrow, and then we might be like 6 weeks to even 2 months out before they're actually getting solar panels on their house. And so I'll tell you what I did bad in the beginning and how I fixed it. So what I did first is I shied away from the process, and I tried to sugarcoat it, and I tried to give them like the best case scenario, which was like, hey, we'll probably have panels on in a month. Well, then when it didn't happen in a month, then I had people that were frustrated and like a little bit ticked off because they're only going off what you tell them. They don't know anything, right? So whatever you tell them is the truth and the gospel, right? And which is weird because I like everything else super truthful, super open in my process. I don't know why I shied away from that. And this was pretty early on. And then I figured out pretty quickly, like, just tell them it's going to take 3 months. Just tell them the worst case timeline. And then the expectations are more realistic. And then when it comes a little bit quicker, then they're happy. So now all of a sudden they're getting installed in 6 weeks. They're happy because it didn't take 3 months. And the only difference was just what the expectations I set up for the customer. So if it's a long process like that, I would say just like sink into it. Tell them it's going to be long. It's going to be a waiting game, but not a stressful waiting game. I think that's the key. Is people don't want stress. They don't want like complexity. They want you to take care of it. So it's more like, hey, I'm going to take care of everything. I'm just going to keep you in the loop. And you'll know those certain times where you like need the customer, like you're going to need the customer for this document or that document. And so just setting up a really good, hey, expectation, like we're going to need you on this step, step 4 or whatever it is, and step 6, but all the other steps, just so you know what we're doing, but we don't need you. It's not stressful for you. That's why we have a team. That's why I have my, our support team. You have me, you have, the other person, and to really help you. And that's our job.
Yeah. So essentially you're saying under promise, over deliver, right?
Yep. In a long way. Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Nike does that, by the way. If I ordered like shoes from Nike and they're like, well, it's going to be there in 4 days, and it comes in 2 days.
Yes. I'm a Nike guy. I think I got my Nike shirt. Yeah, I do. So yeah, all the time,
they do
right?
That.
Yeah.
They do that to you as well, right?
Oh yeah. It always comes. In fact, that's funny you know that, because there's a couple other things like Target's really good at kind of doing that too. Nike's pretty good from what we've seen.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, wait, didn't they say it was going to come on Monday, and it's already here. It's Friday. So
yeah,
which is different from how Amazon does it, because Amazon is always like best case. They're like, oh, it's going to be there tomorrow, and then it shows up like at 11 p.m. And I was like, I thought it's going to be more like afternoon, not like late at night. So I'm a little bit disappointed.
They're like, it was 2 days. It was there at 11:59 p.m. We made it. Yeah. And it's all about perspective, right? Like it's just expectation and perspective.
Yeah. But the way Amazon solved that problem is they have like tracking Like literally, if the delivery person is close to your house, you can see it on the map where they are.
Where they're
so
at.
That kind of helps lessen the anxiety if you're waiting on something important, right?
Yeah. Yeah, what study was it that I read a lot of books and I sometimes forget where they come from, but in the London train system, they were struggling with, people were really frustrated with their trains being late. And instead of like fixing everything and spending billions of dollars, all they did was put when your next train is expected to be here. And it increased customer satisfaction so much just because like the expectation, like even though it was late, they just knew like, okay, well, I know it's going to be here. And so I can expect it. So
yeah, I remember reading that as well.
I think that might be Daniel Pink book, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's a heavily cited study. So
okay.
So one question I had, you mentioned to fix the show up rate, you can also have them talk about the problem. So we're already doing that in the setting call. So when the setter is talking to them and we're qualifying them, so we ask them, how long have you been looking for land? What's the reason why you haven't been you haven't bought land yet? So we kind of like poke the problem a little bit.
That's smart. But poke it again. Do it again, even if it's just real quick.
Okay.
It just reminds them like what's at stake. It reminds them there's a problem. Like you can't talk about the problem too much. I truly believe that.
Yeah. No.
Even if it's just real quick.
Yeah. No, we're on the same page. But the question is, since we already have the notes in our CRM and we know exactly what the problem is, instead of asking them again, which may turn them off because they've already told us, say yesterday, do you think it would be as effective if we just confirmed with them? Also, just wanted to confirm that the reason you're looking for land is because your rent keeps on going up. Like, kind of, will that also be effective?
Yeah, but you got to do it. And yes, it's good to do that, but you got to do it in a way where if it's more powerful when the other person says it, not you. So if I want them to start believing and thinking something, I want them to say it, not me to say it.
Yeah.
So in a way that is where, like you said, it might be like, hey, the reason it looks like my notes show here, I just want to make sure this is right. The reason you want to get some land is your rent goes up. Is that still the case for you? And they can say, yeah. And then you can just follow up, say, oh, wow, has the rent gone up a lot for you? You just being a real person conversation. They're like, yeah, it's gone up, man. This, it's gone up this, it's gone up this. And then all of a sudden they're thinking about it again. And it's kind of like they're sinking into it a little bit. And then it's just like, oh man, that's frustrating. Okay, got that. And then just remind them of like, hey, the appointment's set for this. Are you pretty good at being to your appointments? Like you work from a calendar, like, and they'll say, typically they'll say yes. And just that they said yes is more, more of a, people, we want to live up to what we say we are.
Right.
If we say we're on time a lot, we want to kind of live up to that, right? If we say we do certain things, we want to try to live up to what we've told people.
Yeah. No, totally agree. So going back to your earlier mention of like how you improved the closing rate by 9% for this company you were helping. Tell us about that. What were they doing wrong? What did you implement that led to that increase?
They had it's really kind of unique. They have like 3 sales arms. They have like leads that call in, and that from advertising they call in, they sell it and set up the service. They have their technicians selling upsells, and then they have which is considered sales. They have people calling in to cancel or frustrated, right? Luckily this company didn't have a lot of that, but they still wanted to keep more of that. So we had to go. This one was mainly a training issue. It just they had a lot of the systems in place. Pay was fine. Team culture was good. Leadership probably could have been improved a little bit, but the main focus was that training aspect. And we just needed to give them the skills and more of a straight method where they had basically a few years ago, they had one of their owners that was kind of running the sales team. But as they grew, they had other people step in there that weren't as qualified. Honestly, they were really good at certain things, but they weren't as qualified to be teaching sales. And then you had this, everyone kind of doing it the way that they do it. Well, I do it this way and I do it this way. And none of them were very good at it, honestly. And so then for that, it was just, a 12-week sales training course, like focus on training, like focus on the, going back to the basics, building a foundation, including some of my framework that works, that literally work no matter what you're talking about, what sales situation you're in. Like you could be retaining someone, you could be, in a cold call, you could be person to person, any situation. You could want to get a room upgrade, it works. And so going to that and then just training them over a period of time and just building on those steps, foundation to foundation and building to where now all of a sudden it's cool in that process. Now all of a sudden they kind of get rid of some bad habits and now they replace them with some good habits. And now the confidence starts. And that's where it's key. That's where it kind of clicks for people is they have skills, they apply the skills, and then they have success. So now they have this other element of confidence. And confidence is huge when you're selling. And so when you do that, and now all of a sudden the feeling in the building is totally different. That's one of the founders that said, like, people are excited about selling. They're bragging about sales, where before it was like kind of ashamed about your sales numbers. Now people are bragging about it. They're, congratulating each other about the sales. And all of a sudden things just start creating a momentum.
Yeah. So essentially you standardized things and you implemented a sales training framework that everyone was following, right?
Yeah. Abi, you're really good at summarizing my long-windedness.
Well, I've done so many of them that it forced me to. Just like you have done so many sales calls, right? You get better as you do more of them.
Yes. So, and then also like getting frameworks that they can follow. So when I'm not there, like that's the key, right? Like they got to be able to do it when someone's not breathing down their neck. Like they got to that was key for them is like, look, we don't have the time and effort. We got other things we want to grow and develop and we're opening new markets. So we just need someone that's really like going to take this sales thing and really turn it around and honestly, like just take it. So that's what we did.
So internally in our company, we use I don't know if you know this, the Closer framework by Alex Hormozi. Are you familiar with it?
I read his books. That's good. Yeah. Alex has got great stuff.
Yeah. So clarify why you're there, label them with a problem, overview of their past experiences, sell the vacation, not the plane flight. E, explain away their concerns, objection handling, and R is the reinforcing their decision. Is the framework that you use, is it similar or uses the same elements?
It's similar elements. So I use it's called a W method. So I start with hook and basically getting people's attention, why they should listen to you. And even if they're calling in, like you still, it's crazy to think like they're calling me, they're ready to listen. It's like half the time they're not. So hook, and then we talk a lot about problem. I like really simple things. So problem, we talk about problem a lot, and then obviously that transition into the solution. And then we do what's called a takeaway. So something that is, if they don't act, what life's going to look like. It could be a limited time thing. It could be you might not qualify for this. It could be we might not be a good fit for you. Basically, you give them all this good news and then you take it away. And then that psychology is like, oh, wow, it changes the game. And then we transition. So meaning you transition into the next step of the sell, whatever that is. So that might be getting information, that might be filling out a form, that might be setting the next schedule. So it's really, really easy to follow.
Yeah. Is it question based?
Yeah. So all those sections are definitely question based, and you're guiding, you're questioning, and you are, and it's obviously a framework, which I like frameworks that are really they're really easy to know where you're at, but they're flexible enough to fit into literally every conversation. Sometimes even his framework, if you used it and it's good, and obviously he's had a lot of success doing it, but I won't even use his, some other ones frameworks, it's 16 steps, and it's look, a real conversation doesn't go like that. A real sales conversation doesn't go like that. It's super flexible, it's super fluid, and you got to be able to jump from a problem to a solution, and you might have to jump back to a problem for a minute, and then you might have to go to a solution again, and then you qualify them, and then if they're not ready for a transition, you got to go back. And so that's how real life sales conversations go. It doesn't always go A, B, C, D so easily.
Yeah. How important is objection handling?
It's super important, key, it's big. But sometimes people look at objection handling the wrong way. They're waiting for the objection, and then they're like, I got this one liner that's just going to blow it out of the water. I look at out in the world, the one liners, people think I'm just thinking social media and stuff like this. Sometimes I just see stuff, I'm like, that doesn't this is just trash. It sounds good, it sounds awesome, but it's just trash. The one word objection, you think any objection is going to come one sentence? You're going to overcome someone's fear, someone's worry, someone's trust, in one sentence? Really? You think that's real? No, it's not. And so you have to build in your objections into the framework, into the sales process. You have to bring them up before they happen. You have any product, service, you'll have 4 or 5 that are just common, right? Money, time, XYZ, whatever it is.
Band, right? Budget, authority, need, timing. Yeah.
Yep. And so you've got to bring those up before they happen. You can't you've got to bring them up on your terms, and in a way that you overcome the objection before it happens. Now that's ideal, which doesn't always happen. And then when you get objections, the way I look at it is, an objection is either two things. It's either a smokescreen objection, meaning it's just kind of hey, what about this? It's not a real concern.
Right.
And then number 2 is a real objection. And people, because the one-liners, people think that a real objection will get closed with a one-liner. It doesn't happen. You got to go back, and what you have to do is you've got to build a library of stories of people that objection related to them and how they got through it. Not you, other people. So we teach our people to, talk about, you just have a library of stories. For each objection, you now have someone that has experienced it. They thought the same way you thought. Now they think this way, and they got over it. And here's the good news on the other side. So it's all story based is really big with objections.
Yeah. So one of the biggest objections we get in our business is price, right? People will be like, well, you're selling it for $20K, but I can buy from another person for 15, right? And so far we keep it really short. We'll be like, well, we already know what our land is worth, and it's already priced to sell. And then and there's no discount, and we just leave it there. I'm sure there's a better way of handling it. How would you handle it?
So the price one is you got to kind of go back a little bit because they have to see the value connected with that price before the price comes. So that's one way. So I'm trying to think in that specific way with land. If I had more time, I would think of a better way to do it. But you have to build the value so much that when it gets there, the value is more than the price. Like, end of story. Like, they want something so bad, and that's why sometimes we don't talk about their problem enough and painful and what it's going to look like if they continue down the path. They don't change, they don't fix it, like what's going to happen. And so then now the price is like, the price versus value is just not there. The other thing you can do is anchor in like similar deals, similar, like in a way that shows like it's not, $20,000, it's only $10,000, like that kind of a way, but you have to make it true and natural and not gimmicky. Like you can't say, hey, we're going to sell this land for, what's your average land price? Like 100 grand, 50 grand or
no, this is 20K.
Oh, okay. You can't say we were going to sell this for 40K. We're giving it to you for 20K. I mean, people see through BS and that backfires, right?
Yeah.
But you want to say, hey, like future wise, like, hey, if you didn't buy this now, like price goes up 10%, 5% a year, if you wait, you're going to be paying this amount. Now, don't you think, like, would you rather pay this, the 15,000 in 5 years, or would you rather pay 10K right now? And obviously, they're smart. You're like, well, obviously that's why most people buy now. They're buying now to protect themselves from rising costs.
Yeah. I'll give you a more specific example so you have more context. So we were selling this land in West Virginia. So I think this one is at like 20, let's call it 30K even. So it's priced at 30K even. And the person, first of all, when we had the setting and the first closing call, they agreed to it. They're like, oh yeah, this sounds reasonable. But then they came back and they said, well, we did more research and it will require a brand new survey because the boundary lines seem like too close to the neighbors where they have their shed and it might be encroaching. So we'll have to spend another $3,000 in survey. We might also have to do a perk test. And for that reasons, we would like you to come down to 27, right? Something like that. So they make a good argument. And for that kind of response, for that kind of objection, we just default to, oh, well, we already know it's priced to sell, so we can't discount it further. And we don't even go into the back and forth. We'll just cut them and they're like, take it or leave it kind of situation. But I'm sure you would, I'm sure there's a better way of handling it. What do you think in that specific situation? How would you think about handling it?
Yeah. So in negotiations, right? Like the other side, they just want to feel like they kind of won. That's like typically. So if you think of like, in cars, hey, can you come down? Like they just want to be like, the guy wanted 30 and I got 29. Like I'm being true, like legit. They want to feel like they won, you lost, or at least like I made you compromise a little bit on your side.
Yeah.
And you can kind of play that game a little bit. And what you could do is you can start a little bit higher. And knowing that where you want to end up is actually at 30. And if you're really not okay with like a 29K, if you're really not okay with that, then, you could stay where you're at and, just knowing that, hey, 30K is where we're at and we're going to get that tomorrow. Of course, if that's the case, then fine, just stay at 30K. But if you feel like, no, like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? Like, there's no way, there's no way we can do this. But then it's like, I'll give you an example. So I had a company that was similar to us. They were doing. I just went with one of their guys for a little bit. They were doing. They were selling security systems, door-to-door security systems, and they knew that their price actually was going to be here, and they started here always. Their monthly price, they always started here. If they didn't get any kickback, they stayed there.
Yeah,
like a test. And then if they did, they'd be like, "Oh my gosh," like not "oh my gosh," but like, "Oh man, I don't know," like. Because then they would just come up. I can't even remember the reasoning, but like, oh man, I can only do 2 of these per month, and it's already the first of the month, so that means I'll only be able to do like 1 more. Or do you like? And then they would ask something. So if I do this for you, will you refer me to one of your neighbors at least? Because I'm giving you the lower price, which is actually the price they want to be at anyway.
Yeah.
So now they're like, okay, deal. And now all of a sudden you've given them a little bit, they appreciate it, and now they're willing to do something for you in it also. Because you never lower it just to lower it. Like
right.
You don't do that. Like you've got to have a good reason, or like even if the customer brings up that reason, you're like, okay, I can see that is actually a decent reason. Normally we have a line in the sand we don't cross, but in this situation, I can see that. All right, we'll do $29K. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't happen. Like I might get in trouble. I'm trying to help you out here. And they're more likely to be like, oh, all right, well, he moved a little bit. They feel like they won.
Yeah.
And if the $29K deal is still good with you and it's still worth it and you don't have to chase them down, you don't have to waste a lot of time, but you got the deal done and it's moving forward, like, and you can move on to the next deal, most of the time that's going to be worth it.
Yeah. We usually, as you pointed out, we usually don't change the price unless we're changing the terms as well. So for example, say, oh, we'll come down to $29K, but then you're paying all the closing costs. We're not going to pay anything. Kind of like changing the terms. Because what we noticed is, I mean, I talk about in my book as well. What we noticed is like people talk, and then if we give a discount to one person and then the other person like knows them and say, wait, you gave John a discount. Why am I not getting a discount? And then you get into tough situations. So we kind of like stopped that, and we're like, we'll only change the price if the terms also change. So if someone comes back and say, well, how come they got $1,000 off? Well, they paid for all closing costs, or we have bonuses that we give out. We told them you're not going to get any bonuses, right? So stuff like that.
Yeah, that's good.
Because, otherwise then it's becomes a little bit unethical, right?
Yeah, you don't want to get in that he said, she said kind of thing. But I think the key there is like you let the person kind of win a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And kind of get what they want, and they feel like, okay, this guy's working with me. I'm happy, okay, I'm happy now. Let's do it.
Yeah. I wanted to zoom back out a little bit to your business. I know I've been asking a lot of questions, trying to selfishly solve my business problems. So I wanted to transition back to your business. So just a quick recap. So you tried one-to-many style coaching, where you were generalizing your advice to a lot of different niches, and that kind of, you had a little bit of an imposter syndrome, and people didn't get as much value, and you didn't think you were providing as much value. So you niched down, and now you have a well-defined ICP, and you're only going after B2B customers, which already have sales teams, and they are sort of, in the same niche, more or less, door-to-door sales? Or do you also go after like more traditional, like phone sales, or would you stick to door-to-door sales businesses?
No. In fact, I don't even typically do door-to-door, because I think they actually have typically it's such a difficult sell that if they're not good at sales, they go out of business. So I found that other industries need me much, much more.
Oh, you're saying door-to-door sales in itself is so hard that...
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so hard. If you're not really good at it, your business goes under. So I don't think typically those people need me.
Would you recommend, if someone is door-to-door sales, say they sell like lawn care services or whatever, would you advise them to diversify, get into some leads from door-to-door, other leads from online marketing, or outbound cold phone calls?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, we had both, and so I think you're leaving. Yeah, you want to diversify for sure if you can. But I know that sometimes the marketing leads and stuff just don't because the costs associated with. Sometimes basically the idea door to door is, instead of putting a budget in marketing, you're putting all your budget in sales. So you just pay them really, really well to bring in sales.
Yeah. So now that you have this ICP defined, tell me how you're getting your customers right now.
Well, that's been the tricky part. So I've been running. I have a quiz funnel, a lead magnet right now. I'm trying to build my email list with that. So trying to build my list. I'm reaching out on LinkedIn, basically cold messaging on LinkedIn. What I'm trying to build right now, I've tried some ads, some meta ads before with the individual sales people. I was doing meta ads, so I am familiar with meta ads, but I don't have any meta ads right now, other than just for my lead magnet. And so, and then the content, the content game. So working on Instagram, I actually started a YouTube channel. So I'm two videos into that. I mean, I'm very, very new. And so that going on podcasts is one, which, thanks for having me on. Glad to be on, and I've been doing that for a little bit. So mainly the big thing is like, I need people to know what I do and what I'm good at. And then when I get the chance, the opportunity, I perform, and I do really well.
Yeah. So of all the customers that you have had so far, where did they come from?
So those were just personal contacts.
How long have you been doing this? The marketing efforts?
Just since November.
Oh, okay. So you're relatively new. It's not like you've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was in door-to-door, that industry, for 10 years, and then transitioned out.
Yeah.
To basically be a sales coach, and almost started a couple other business, but decided this is my lane. This is what I'm really good at.
Right. The transition happened in 2025?
No, I took a year to kind of decide my angle, where I wanted to go in life, and so almost started, like I said, another business, but I didn't decide I wanted to do that. So
yeah, I mean, podcasting clearly, but it is a long game, right? So you'll have to go to a lot of different podcasts, and over time it's gonna increase the organic reach. Have you seen anything so far? Any potential leads from the past interviews you have done?
From podcasting, other than, so that was one mistake I had, is I just had my website up. I didn't have now I feel like when I go on a podcast, I can say, hey, I have this quiz that you can take to see where your team's, strong or weak in 5 different areas in your sales systems. And so now I have something to kind of collect those leads. So I don't know even if, I don't know the leads that came through. Right. So that's kind of where I'm trying to.
Yeah.
And I need to get leads pretty consistently. one thing I've hired is I hired a consulting, not a consulting, but a group that does. They basically reach out on LinkedIn and find my avatar and set up roundtables where I can discuss sales with my avatar and invite people to have a call. And so they've had some good success, but I'm not relying on that. I want to build kind of my own stuff too.
Yeah. Do you know the best lead source for you that I can think of?
What?
The podcast host.
Podcast host?
Yeah, because you're essentially going into a 1 hour conversation and you could like do a soft pitch. Oh, by the way, Abi, if you need help with, right?
I've been pitched already by podcast hosts, so I know kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, as a guest, you could pitch to the host and say, well, if you need any help, let me know.
As a guest.
Yeah.
Well, looks like you need help, Abi. We're pitching you right now.
Exactly. Yeah, and
I've already helped you a little bit, only in 20 minutes. Imagine if we worked together.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm already looking forward to your 13% increased lead magnet.
Yes, I know, right?
Tip. I think that's a banger idea. You have to turn it around. You know what you could do? So when you go on podcasts, you could say, oh, so by the way, just for your listeners, I have this lead magnet where you can increase it by X percentage, and you just have to ask this one question, right? Just this one question, right? How good are you at keeping your commitments? That'll be part of your lead magnet. That'll be the answer, right? Yes. So you're giving them the hook. Just ask your leads, one question, and it's going to increase it by whatever 15%. And I've tested this over the past 10 years or whatever in my career, and it worked, and I'm pretty certain it's going to work for you as well. So go check that out, and then you collect their email, right? So I think that will be really good. The quiz funnel is good for people who take it. I just feel like it's not a strong enough hook unless I already have like a big problem to solve and a team that's on like hurting right now. So I think with the other one, you will. So you know how like if you have a store, 10 and 100 people come in, 10 people will always buy, 10 people will never buy, and the 80 people are like maybes. They may or may not buy, right? So the quiz funnel is good for people who are like, looking to buy right now. But if you have like a more hooky lead magnet, just like this, it's going to increase, which kind of like applies to pretty much every business, then you're capturing that 80% of maybes, right?
That's good.
Yeah, so I think that will help. So you get more leads, and then you also want to have lead attribution, right? So when you set up that email page, like the collecting email page, you want to have some sort of lead attribution, either automated using the URL with like get parameters, like ? referred by XYZ podcast, something automated like that, or have like a drop down where people select, the lead came from a podcast, or the lead came from your YouTube video that you did, right? So that way you can attribute it back. So you know what's working, what's not working. So for example, if you go on 50 podcasts, right, and you got one lead, as opposed to if you did 50 YouTube videos and you get 40 leads, right? Now you know, I should really be focusing more on creating more videos as opposed to going more on podcasts, right? So if you don't have lead attribution, then it's hard to figure out where to put effort in, right? Because then you have limited number of hours. You can only do so much. So with lead attribution, it keeps you focused on the things that are actually working.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that.
So that's podcasting. We talked about lead attribution. You tell me about the YouTube channel. So you're saying you just started the second video. Tell me what the content strategy is there.
So the content strategy is to get my basically, so when people are able to see that, they know I'm the real deal. That's like kind of the basics of that. Like I know what I'm talking about. I know my stuff. And then also just getting to know me a little bit. And then in each video I have that lead magnet for the quiz so far.
Are you, when you come up with ideas for your YouTube channel, are you thinking about your ICP, ideal customer?
Yeah.
Or are you thinking more of like just the common problems any sales team will have?
No, I'm trying to really think about what they need.
Yeah. And one thing that we have seen that's been successful on YouTube is trying to figure out, like in your niche, so the training sales team's niche, see what are the existing videos that have performed well, right? And you kind of like steal their topics. Like you don't want to exactly copy the title of the video, but you want to like create a variation of that and cover that topic because it's already proven that, and that's the reason why the YouTube algo promoted it and it got like whatever million views, because there's clearly a demand for it. So that might help you with your content
strategy. Put my own spin on that and put my own spin and my own thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. But keep the problem in the title similar to a video that already took off in the past. The other thing I was thinking was having a book. I think we discussed this in the pre-call, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Creating a book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that will help you with establishing authority in your niche, right? Because then people who are on the fence, going back to the 80% being maybes, people who are on the fence, you can at least say, well, you can't afford me, or you're not ready yet. Check out my book, right? It's free on Kindle Unlimited, or it's like $9 or whatever. And then people can get it. They might not read it right away, but then if the problem kind of like becomes huge and they're like, all right, fine, let me finally read Luke's book. It's been sitting there, and then they read it. It's like, oh, whoa, Luke knows what he's talking about. Let me give him a call, right? So you build authority and long-term nurture with a physical copy of the book.
You feel like there's a pop with that book on that? Sorry, Abi. Do you feel like there's a pop when it first comes out because you're launching it, spreading the news, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a bump in leads, an increase in leads. Also, it also helps with a reason to go on podcasts, right? Because then you'll be like, well, I just launched my book. And then a lot of times people who interview, just like, as I said, the host is your number one lead when you're on a podcast. So I would be like, I would talk about the things in the book, and people are like, oh, that seems really interesting. I'm going to order it. A lot of hosts have like, I mean, obviously I don't know if they actually ordered it, but they've said, oh, that makes sense. I'm going to order it. So, it is essentially, you should look at it as like a one-on-one sales calls, but more of a soft sales call, not like a hard close one, right? Because then you're literally talking to the person for an hour, and they're getting to know you and hopefully like you, and then they want to buy from you, right?
Nice.
Like, I mean, as I said, I was already like, Luke, help me solve problems that I'm facing with, right? And then you already gave me ideas. So if I'm like dealing with bigger problems, the first name that will come to my mind is, oh, let me go to Luke. He helped me solve this problem. I'm sure he knows the answer to this problem that I'm facing next, right?
Yeah. Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, I think those should help. And then over time, as your book gets more reviews, right? Say you reach past 100 reviews, then instead of running meta ads for your personal services, you can run Amazon ads on your book. So your book becomes top of the funnel, right? So when you finish the book, at the end, have like a CTA. Oh, if you want to learn more, or if you want to have like one-on-one, or if you don't want to do like a hard CTA, you can do a soft CTA to your lead magnet, right? Depending on how you want to position it. But yeah, so that becomes top of the funnel, because then people are lot of, like, my wife wrote a book on land due diligence, and she still gets leads. Like, literally people will like, oh, I just read your book. I was like, oh, the one I wrote 4 years back. Oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
right.
wow.
So it's like a unlimited, unlimited leads you can think of, like long-term evergreen. Because we did a huge marketing push. We generated a lot of reviews. She has like 500 plus reviews on her book. And she did spend a lot of time. This is pre-chat GPT, and that's like a 500 plus page book. So she spent a lot of time on it. And yeah, people still read it in 2026, and they reach out. So it is a, like a long-term thing, evergreen thing that continues to pay off. So book is like a no-brainer in that regard, especially since you correctly pointed out your constraint of having people not knowing who you are and not having the authority in the niche you're trying to build.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So Luke, those were the things that came to my mind. Tell me any other constraints you have that you're thinking about in terms of getting to $50,000 per month by the year end.
So I guess just more of like, because I see the value in the book, I see the value in the YouTube, I see the value in the social media, but it's also like I want to get some traction right now, right? Because I know, like, also though, when you sell a customer, then referrals start coming, right? And so one sell leads to 2 sales and leads to 4 sales. So that getting that process started, I guess I'm looking at, do you have any thoughts on creating like a little bit of like a quick momentum, quick launch to get some customers and clients and get the ball rolling a little bit?
Great question. So talk about it in my book. So in general, I'm sure you already know this, but in general, like, there are 2 main ways to make money in a business, right? You can spend more money on marketing and advertising to get new customers. And the second big way is to make your existing customers more valuable, right? So going back to CAC and LTV, cost to acquire a customer and lifetime value. The problem with first approach of always spending more money and time in getting more customers through marketing in ads is because the costs always go up, right? Meta ads in 2018, when we first launched the company, was much cheaper than in 2026. And it's going to be much more expensive in 2028. The cost just keeps on going up, right? So your CAC always goes up, right? So the only variable that you can actually control is LTV, lifetime value, right? And that's also the key for getting more referrals and more word of mouth. So I had a guy on, a founder on, he does like 50 million plus. That's his revenue was like 50 million plus. His net worth is like in like 9 figures. So I asked him, to draw a pie chart on like his customer acquisition. He's been doing this CPG business for like 40 plus years. So long time. And I asked him to tell me what the pie chart is and all the slices that make up this pie chart on customer acquisition. Like how many people are coming from ads, online ads, how many people are coming from outreach, how many are coming from, like referrals and affiliate marketing. Like, so, and he is like, well, we don't even need to draw anything because 100% of my people are coming from one source. I was like, wait, what? Really? 100% from just one source? What is that source? And he said, word of mouth.
Oh, wow.
Right? So, and the reason it's so effective is because, the CAC, cost to acquire a customer through word of mouth, right, is $0.
0, yeah.
So he's not spending any money on marketing. It's literally, he's like, literally, I have 9 customers that came in the last couple of days. 9. Right? Like, people are like calling him. And I was like, how did you create that flywheel? How did you, do that? Because because our referral rate is like close to like 15-ish percentage, which is like really low because his is like 100%. So he told me essentially, when you have when you do acquire a customer, you want to like give them way more value than they expect, right?
Yeah.
So, and that kind of like what triggers this word of mouth flywheel. So for example, you said you have like a couple of active customers. How can we provide them so much more value than they're already expecting, that they're like, whoa, Luke, that was awesome. I'm gonna either they're gonna say, I'm gonna continue working with you and I'm not gonna end the engagement, right? So you're continue to have them as a long-term client.
Yeah,
or they'll be
one's
like,
already done that, committed today to do that.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's like the best case scenario. Worst case scenario would be, look, you solved all my problems. I don't have any other problems in the near future, but you did such a good job that I'm going to tell my friends or tell my colleagues,
referrals.
Right? Yeah.
Gosh,
so
I know the referral game. I don't know why I haven't been like, put any time or effort into it at all.
Yeah. So that's one thing, right? You want to over deliver on value. The other thing is, when you do ask for referrals, you have to treat it like an offer, as in like you need to make it an irresistible offer. So for example, I don't know if it's going to work in your particular niche, but for example, this is work for us, work for a lot of different niches, where you will say, well, if you, I hope you were satisfied, and they say, oh yeah, you did a good job. And say, well, if you send someone, I'm going to give you a kickback, right? So make them like a no-brainer, where they're like, wait, what, really? You're going to give me like 15% of whatever you make. So if you end up making 100K, they're going to get a $15,000 check at the end of the year. So make it like such an irresistible offer that people feel stupid not referring more people to you, especially when they got like ton of value out of you. So that would be the second way of getting more referrals, is to make an offer people feel stupid saying no to.
Love it. I know all that. That's just a reminder. That's great.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff came from like Russell Brunson and Alex Hormozi and all, all those books that pretty much everyone has read.
Referral was a huge part of our business selling. So,
yeah. So, Luke, this has been great.
Awesome.
I hope we provided enough value for our audiences. If anyone is watching this, they love the ideas and techniques that you shared with me, the sales side, and they want to work with you, what's the best place for them to reach out?
So the best place is just going to be on Instagram, Coach_Luke J. You can find me everywhere on the website, but on Instagram is a great place.
Luke, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thanks so much, Abi.